Right, enough already. Goodness gracious, there's a lot of people being wrong on the interwebs, isn't there, staff? This is a little film put together by a MD in the States, I believe, calls herself Healthy Immune Doc. Healthy Immune Doc is who we're dealing with today. And she wants to tell us all about the diabetes, though, and what we should eat in order to deal with the diabetes, though, which is really quite fascinating to me. It stuns me, to be fair, in that medical doctors, MD, and I believe that's what Healthy Immune Doc is. If I'm wrong, apologies, but from my cursory look into her channel, that looks like what she is, an MD. They receive no training whatever to speak of in human nutrition, or indeed the biochemical pathways relevant to human nutrition in any way, shape or form. Actually, MDs are, I don't want to be overly disparaging, but MDs are basically trained monkey grinders. They are told not how to think, not how to be, I guess, remotely intelligent about what they're saying. They are just taught what to say in an if-then type style, paint by numbers. If the patient presents with this lab result, then what you do as an MD is this. And it's usually the intervention to markers rather than actual outcomes by means of pharmacological intervention for most general practice MDs. So why this woman thinks for 1 second that she's remotely competent to speak publicly to people about nutrition, I've got no idea. Anyways, let's do the caveats, because we need to do that before we get kicked off into the response to the video. Number one, this is a channel, my channel here, where I do pause the speakers in the videos I'm reacting to often, very often in the middle of a sentence, if that's required for me to correct falsehoods, demonstrable falsehoods. If that's triggering for you, if you don't like that, if that's not your bag, you are in the wrong place. And you are invited cordially to pop yourself off somewhere else without pass and go or collecting $200. Okay? If you want to learn something about the mind of an actual scientific individual, such as myself, who has some actual background in this field, among others, then stick around, because you will learn something. Second caveat, I don't know whether I will or not today. It just depends on how I'm feeling at the time, depending on what I'm hearing in my headphones. But sometimes I use language which is a bit spicy. If that's not your bag, once again, you are invited to pop yourself directly off somewhere else without pass and go or collecting $200. It's kind of edutainment. It's kind of amusing for my cult audience who like that sort of thing. I'm not allowed not to do it. Actually, if I don't do it, people go, "What's this? What are you doing? That's not what we tuned in for. You haven't called anybody a or whatever." So that might happen. Depends on what this woman has to say. I don't know what she's going to say, but I tell you what, I would probably happily get one of these out of my wallet, because it's not worth anything in this country anyway, and put that on the table and bet my last $20 US that I do know what she's going to say, even though I don't. And I'm going to prove that by responding to her live to you folks soon, when I get past introductions and hello, who's in the chat and that. And I'm going to do that without rehearsal or editing or anything. I'm just going to talk based on what she says, because I know what she's going to say, I think. And she's going to be wrong when she says it. Anyway, that's what's coming up. So if that's for you, stick around. If that's not for you, come back another time when I'm doing something different. Which, as I said yesterday, something different for the foreseeable future will not include the question and answer sessions that are usually in this time slot, for a number of reasons. In no particular order, my co-host doesn't want to do it. They are not well subscribed in terms of viewer numbers, and the financial return on doing them in terms of super chats and stuff has not been up to snuff. So until we get an influx of new people with big wallets and new questions, for the foreseeable future, the Q&A sessions are cancelled. Please don't make me cancel these sessions as well, because I will, if they're not well subscribed, well paid, and worth my time doing. I hope that's clear, people. Okay? Love you all, by the way, and there's nothing you can do about it. Let's see who's in the house before we start dealing with whether or not this American MD knows anything about either diabetes or nutrition, actually. Who was first in the house? It was Deborah. Well done, soldier. Well done. Daylight savings today in Ben's part of the world, apparently, so no soapy frogs for Ben. Excellent. Second was Dorota, ER. Very good. Corey's in the house. Good to see you, Corey. Yes, my third live stream in less than 24 hours. Isn't it good? Dean is in the house. Kia ora e hoa. Kei te pihia koe. Yes. Actually got the notification on time, did you, Ben? Awesome. Yes, if you haven't liked the stream, please do so. That's one of the things that makes the world go round for Al Gore's rhythms. Nick, good to see you, mate. All right? All right, mate. Are you all right? Good. This woman is a quack. Yes, I suspect that. I haven't seen this video yet, but I suspect this woman is a quack. Because any MD that comes online pretty much and says, I know how to cure the diabetes with diet, though, and there are images of all the wrong things food-wise on their channel and whatever. This is going to be, this woman's going to tell us that carbohydrates are the answer, I'm suspecting. So there we go. Just got your orders to attend. There you go. Well, at least they're being sent out today. Yesterday, they didn't go out, it seems, very much. Mark's in the house. Good to see you, mate. Mark's an absolute legend. If you don't know Mark, you should sub to Mark's channel and watch all of Mark's videos on repeat, basically, because they're good. And he's enjoying the live talk and the frequency of them. Good. I'm enjoying doing it. I'm enjoying having the capacity to do it. The reason I have the capacity to do it is because I've had my sister and two nieces here helping out for a few weeks, which just lightens the load on myself and Her Majesty Pym, Queen of Pirates, First of a Name, Mother of Puppies, The Unpoked, and all the other titles that she's got. Queen of all Pimbatia and all of that. Another Mark says he watched the discussion debate between Paul Saladino and Nick Norwich on seed oils. It was painful from both of them. I suspect it would have been, because neither one of those are people that I would trust as far as I could throw them to accurately represent science at all. Not a fan of either of those gentlemen, if that wasn't clear already. David Schonberger's here. Yes, ready for Ted's paddling. You'll notice that Ted joins us today. He's gotten over himself from yesterday where he was not seen at the camouflage training. I've had a word with him overnight and we've got his attitude back in order, I think. And if you want to see that Ted's attitude is in some kind of order, you can follow Ted on X at HRH_Ted. You can also buy Cerebral Stem Cell Nutrition from https://bkaynutrition.cerebral.com. And that's a very, very good idea indeed. You should do that. While you're there, you might as well also pick up some Cyactive and some Plasma Flow. You probably should get that in a wellness pack, which means you get a price break on the 3 products. And also you won't pay for shipping, which is quite a significant cost saving. It's about 18 to 20%. I'd get that done, frankly, because, well, adult stem cells are magics and you need more of them. So get it happening. No more messing about. Also, if you want to contribute to the 6-figure cost of repairs to Pimbatia after 2 major flooding events about 3 months ago, you can do that by contributing some funds to my PayPal. And the address for that is also wending its way across the bottom of the screen on that yellow banner. And it will be throughout the show, so you can subscribe in that way. Right, without further ado, enough messing about. You've all had time to get your act together and get in here. Anyone that's late from here on in will be required to report to Ted after class. Let's hear from... what's her name again? Healthy Immune Doc about the diabetes, though, and what we all need to do to avoid diabetes dietarily. Off you go, love.
Hi, friends. Which of these foods do you think makes insulin resistance worse?
Rightio. So right off the bat, it's absolutely clear that this woman has no idea whatsoever what she's talking about. What she's doing is mindlessly parroting a consensus opinion around a mythical pathology, which is referred to ubiquitously as insulin resistance, which is a construct, no more. It's not actually a real thing nor a pathology. I'll deal with that later if I need to. Or indeed, you can binge watch my videos that I've made over the last 7 years, really, which to go back 7 years, you'll have to also go back to another platform that is also a repository for my historical videos. Beyond the point where my current YouTube channel offerings begins, because I had a whole bunch of videos on the YouTubes before that had to be removed from the YouTubes because the YouTubes decided to change the rules retrospectively and start penalising creators such as myself for videos that are in breach of the new rules but weren't in breach of the old rules at the time they were uploaded. Well done, YouTubes. Very even-handed. Good stuff. So you'll have to do that, and to find that you'll have to take an odyssey of adventure to find that other platform. So that's what you'll have to do to watch the old stuff. But anyway, I've been saying insulin resistance is a construct for a long time, and the reason I've been saying that is because it is. It's not an actual pathology. It's a position statement. It's a construct. What do I mean by construct? A construct is an idea, a model, a representation of reality, put together in someone's mind and promulgated from there. It's not an actual objective reality. Please give me the name of a company, anybody at all in the chat right now, any company whatsoever that offers an insulin resistance meter that I can buy, order online and get delivered so that I can test my insulin resistance. It does not exist. Neither does insulin resistance. It's a construct. It's an idea. You have to put it together by putting together the values of things that you actually can measure with actual meters, actual physiological responses, such as the area under the blood glucose curve after a glucose challenge, and the area under the insulin curve at the same time in response to the same glucose challenge. You need those things to put together insulin resistance. Okay? So it's an idea. And it's a fallacious idea. I love that word, fallacious. I don't know if I mentioned that to you before. Probably have. Fallacious. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Fallacious. Thank you, Ted. Well done. All right, let's carry on. So straight away, insulin resistance, you say. And which of these foods makes it worse? Bread, butter, or something in a plastic container? Let's find out. I can't wait.
Which is linked to Alzheimer's dementia.
How can it be linked to Alzheimer's dementia when it's a construct? How does that work? Oh, association between a construct that's been made up by somebody and promulgated by the allopathic and academic fraternities at large, for want of a better term. Fraternities, a bit sexist, isn't it? Anyway, and that's been associated with another pathology, Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's has even been referred to as type 3 diabetes. But is that so? Anyway, we're here to learn about some physiology, so let's learn about physiology from this doctor that knows all about physiology, shall we? New member, welcome Corey T to the Meat Militia. Welcome, soldier. That's a good choice to be a member of the Meat Militia. Now you're in the know, basically, and we'll teach you the secret handshake at some point. All right. Good evening, unretired carnivore. Good evening. No notification. There you go. So some people get them and some people don't get them. Anyway, there it is. Right, let's carry on. So, insulin resistance linked to Alzheimer's disease.
Called type 3 diabetes.
No, see, it's the other way around, love. Alzheimer's disease was the first name for it, and now it's being referred to as type 3 diabetes. It's not the other way around. Goodness gracious, it's not a good start for you, is it?
So, this piece of white sourdough bread,
yes,
these beans, lunch meat, or this stick of butter.
Lunch meat or butter. Okay, which one of those makes so-called insulin resistance worse? This will be interesting.
One of these will continue to reduce your blood sugars the day after you eat it.
Well, goodness gracious, that's probably not a good thing, is it? Depending on what your blood sugars were beforehand, I suppose.
One of these...
There you go. Her actual name is Jia Liu, MD and professor, probably a clinical professor. Nothing wrong with being a clinical professor, that's fine. But anyway, if you're going to say you're an MD and a professor, either clinical or academic, whichever it is, then what comes out of your mouth ought to reflect that. And that doesn't mean the way you comport yourself. You can say naughty words if you want to and still be credible, so long as what you actually say information-wise is correct, yeah? Are you with me? If you're with me, make a comment down there that you get that and that's okay for an academic to present themselves in an entertaining way and say naughty words if they want to, so long as what they actually have to say is correct, defensible, and stuff. Anyway, carry on.
Will spike your blood sugars really high.
Ah, yes, which one of those would spike your blood sugars really high? Out of bread, beans, lunch meat, or butter? Make your guess now, folks. Make your guess in the chat window.
And 2 of these will just make that spike worse because they make you more insulin resistant.
Ah, right. So those, all right. Dear, oh dear. Okay. Well, we're going to have fun with this lady, aren't we?
Why does it even matter? If you know anything about the brain,
Ah, the brain, you say. Yes, I do know a little bit about that. Yeah.
you know that the brain can absorb sugar regardless of insulin. However, when you have insulin resistance, that messes with your fatty acid levels in your blood, and you will see elevated triglycerides. When you have elevated triglycerides in your blood vessels, you elevate your lipoprotein levels, which increases inflammation.
No, it doesn't necessarily at all. False statement. Not correct, love.
Causing atherosclerosis.
No, not correct. Lipoproteins do not cause atherosclerosis, period. Perhaps you'd like to debate cardiovascular pathophysiology with me, Professor Healthy Immune Doc. I forget your name already, sorry about that. Because cardiovascular pathophysiology is one of 3 advanced research degrees I hold, and I am published in that area. And it's one of the things I used to teach at universities and colleges on 4 different continents. Perhaps you'd like to come and talk to me about that, because that's not correct, love, at all. Sorry about that, not sorry.
This ultimately reduces the delivery of nutrients like glucose to your brain.
Ah, there you go. Glucose is a nutrient.
This then affects both the brain's energy and structure.
Ah,
now,
well,
in
that's terrible. We can't be having any of that, can we?
dementia, you don't just run out of gas. You actually lose brain cells, and that's why your brain shrinks. So knowing the biochemistry and pathophysiology caused by the wrong foods.
Yeah, but hang on, love. You've just told us that lipoproteins cause atherosclerosis, which is not correct. Demonstrably incorrect. So your credibility is shot now. We're done, and we're not 3 minutes into your video. And you've just said knowing the biochemistry. Well, if you knew the biochemistry, if you knew the etiology of the development of atherosclerotic lesioning, you'd know that the cause of it is not lipoproteins. Wouldn't you? Oh dear.
Hopefully will help you avoid them so that you can reduce your risk of
Risk. Good. I knew she was going to be credible, this woman. Risk, you say, right? Can you please point me to any experimental study on human beings conducted under adequate control, supervision, observation, in a metabolic ward lock-in situation which establishes any cause and effect relationship between any hard health outcome of any kind in human beings and any aspect of dietary intervention? Shall we wait? It does not exist. Risk is a cause and effect inference, necessarily. So not only do you not understand cardiovascular pathophysiology, or clearly biochemistry, because I'm sure you're going to tell us that carbs are the answer to diabetes, the very thing that's absolutely 180 degrees arse about face wrong with what we should do in our diets if you have diabetes. But you also don't understand basic scientific tenets like cause and effect, risk and hazard. Dear oh dear, it's not looking good for you from the start.
insulin resistance. And really every single tissue in your body will be affected, but they're affected differently. Now, unlike your muscles,
I'll leave that one there. Okay.
your brain doesn't need insulin to absorb any of this glucose from this white starch.
And neither does your brain need any of the glucose from that white bread starch, because gluconeogenesis is a thing. Perhaps you should look that up. Lovely. The exact dietary requirement for exogenous carbohydrate in human beings on a daily basis is not 1 single gram ever. Okay? So we're done, I think, already. But there's still a lot of this left. So let's go through it for an educational process, just so that my people can get a kick out of how stunning, how destitute your understanding of the situation is. Healthy immune doc, and what level your Dunning-Kruger actually sits at. Because so far, it looks to be pretty stunning, doesn't it?
But insulin does serve multiple other functions, including controlling your appetite. Now, complex, isn't it?
Oh, it's complex, so we couldn't possibly hope to understand it. We're too stupid, you see.
Understanding the connection between insulin, glucose, your appetite, and dementia isn't as simple as achieving normal or low blood sugars, insulin, or hemoglobin A1C numbers, even though lots of social media influencers want you to believe that. And drugs that
Well, you know, people ought to show a bit more intelligence, really, about who they listen to for advice on social media. Absolutely. Fair enough.
improve your blood sugars, so you think you can tolerate this? Well,
Tolerate. See, that word is quite telling, isn't it? To tolerate that. It's not required. Any of it. Ever. So why would you need to tolerate it? It's like saying I've built up a tolerance to iocane powder. He poisoned both cups. It was clever, wasn't it? Yeah.
they don't treat dementia. Now, the wrong diet advice may produce pretty lab values, but you may be just sacrificing the structure of your brain to have those good numbers.
Yes, but I suspect that you're going to tell us that the right dietary advice is wrong and that the wrong dietary advice is right. That's what I suspect very strongly you're going to say, Dr. Healthy Immune Doc. That's not a good thing. It's actually malpractice because you're actually right outside of your lane, it seems. Unless you hold, you know, a significant qualification and or unless you have yourself been involved in the generation of knowledge via the publication of research articles in your own name, which I suspect you haven't, then actually you've probably got no place entering this debate publicly at all. I don't mind if people with no qualifications and no experience in the field do enter into such a discussion like this, so long as what you say is demonstrably correct. Unfortunately, 98% of you buffoons that come online and have an opinion have got it wrong. To which the only possible response I can give is, shh, adults are talking. Okay? Let's hear it though.
And it's not going to be worth it in the long run. It's like cheating to get an A on a test. I consider cramming the night before a form of cheating. Are you really
Oh my God, are you serious? Wow.
learning anything? You're cheating yourself out of learning. And I know lots of people that do that and then forget everything a week later. I have here a replica
Yeah, and then they come online and start telling people that they know all about nutrition, even though they've never studied that. That's what those people generally end up doing.
of the brain. It's
All right, so that's a replica of the brain, is it? Wow. Wow. What's happening in the chat? Goodness gracious. Yep. Morning sun is a great thing. Ted was in top form on X, wasn't he? Yep. Hello, Kitty. Good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been hiding? You've been AWOL. Report to Ted after class, down the back. He'll be a bit of administrative correction after he's finished with his knob twiddling duties. So you go down there and... Good boy. Good boy. All right. Yes, constantly arguing with morons on LinkedIn. I used to do that too. It becomes a drain, Nick, at some point. It really becomes a drain on your whole life, and you know, you'll stop doing that. Fallacious. One of my favourite words. All right, Dave. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. What's happening? And when am I coming back on your show for another interview about something? Eddie Goki has some good words you might like. I'm sure he does. You mean mini-me? Yeah. All right. Yes. Right. Just reading through the chat to see if there's anything worth bringing attention to before I carry on. Is she going to get to the point anytime soon? Well, to be fair, I am slowing her down by having my thoughts as she speaks, but it does seem a bit laboured, doesn't it? MDs can be replaced with algorithms. Yeah, they probably can. Yes, you're late. Down the back, after class, by that small guillotine. Ted will be waiting. Yeah, same for you. Yep. Yes, it's another quack, quack, quack. She wants to tell us about the insulin resistance, though. Currently, for those who've just joined us, on the screen right now, apparently is a replica of the brain. So it's clear that she also knows anatomy. Okay, right. Okay. Let's hear some more about this brain representation you have here.
About this size, and your brain works the same way.
There you go. Maybe your brain works the same way as whatever the hell that is. Mine certainly doesn't. Goodness.
Learning, creating, thinking, moving prevents dementia because it builds brain tissue. There's no shortcut that makes up for a poor diet and lifestyle.
Yeah, but you, I don't suspect, love, have the first notion as to what a good diet or lifestyle is. Because so far, you've shown us that you don't understand basic tenets of science. You don't understand physiology, it seems. You certainly don't understand the etiology of type 2 diabetes mellitus, or even what it is. And you subscribe to an idea that a construct, fallacious construct, known as insulin resistance, as some kind of pathology, is an extant phenomena when it isn't. It's a construct. So we've got some problems that we need to deal with. Luckily, I'm here to deal with them. You're welcome, staff. Let's crack on a bit before Ted gets cross.
Comes to the health of your brain. Did you know that free fatty acids are well known to be one of several causes of insulin resistance?
There we go. There it is, folks. There it is. So what she's just said, in a nutshell, is she doesn't understand the Randall cycle either. Okay, so this is an MD and professor of something, somewhere, who does not understand basic tenets of biochemistry, physiology, or nutrition, who wants to tell us all about how to avoid the diabetes, though, which she's conflating with this fallacious construct known as insulin resistance. Wow. Yeah, I guess Duncan is correct. That's what she had on the screen there before is probably what your brain will look like if you follow her advice, I suspect. Yeah. All right. Let's hear all about how the fatty acids are bad. Okay.
In your muscle. And when you're
in your muscle,
muscles are insulin resistant, then that means after you eat this white bread.
So just remind us, again, Healthy Immune Doc, what is the exact requirement on a daily basis in human beings for exogenous carbohydrate of any kind? Oh yes, it's still not 1 single gram ever. So your body's reaction to unnecessary toxic overburden of the intake of such completely contraindicated unnecessary exogenous carbohydrates, i.e. locking that out of the cells, thus preventing the damage that it would do were it allowed to pour in according to its concentration gradient, is now somehow been transmuted is the word I'm after. Goodness gracious. Ted, give me a solid talking to, would you? Yes, get your shit together is what he said. Yes, transmuted. She's transmuted a perfectly indicated, utilitarian, normal, natural, physiological response to a toxin, i.e. the effects parsimoniously described as the Randall cycle. she's now calling that a pathology, and she's implying by omission of a clear statement to the contrary that this pathology that she's just made up, or indeed is parroting mindlessly from what she's learned, or thought she learned, is the underpinning etiology of diabetes, which it isn't. Okay? Wow. Faith, you need to stop doing that. I do too. It's bad for you. Right, I am a true warrior. Yes. I like to think of it that way. I just think I'm doing God's work, frankly. I'm here battling against the charlatans. And make no mistake, this woman here is a charlatan. Unfortunately, she's in good company. 99% of everybody out there with an opinion that they want to share publicly with authority, that they want to claim for themselves, is a charlatan. People do not understand this, clearly. In fact, every one of you who's watched more than 5 minutes of my videos understands human physiology vastly better than any of these buffoons do. You're welcome. So I've made your life simultaneously much easier and probably much more difficult, because now you won't be able to not correct people on this. And you'll be up against the vast majority. Sorry about that. That's just the way it is. All right, tell us more, though. Tell us about this insulin resistance, though, and how suddenly the tragic effect of fats is that we won't be able to absorb this completely unnecessary toxin that you've got in your right hand right now. Okay, let's hear that.
It won't store the glucose in this starch to glycogen. If you put butter on this white bread, you actually get a surge of free fatty acids from this butter, and that then surges your blood sugar.
No, it doesn't. No, not at all. Only if you eat the bread. You've just implied, by lack of a clear statement to the contrary, that eating butter will cause your blood glucose to rise. No, it won't. You should just eat the butter. Hold the bread. All right? This isn't hard to understand, is it? Make your comments below as to whether I'm hard to understand or not. Should we wait? We won't wait. Let's carry on.
Eating this white bread even longer. And over time,
dear, oh dear. Well, perhaps don't eat the white bread then. Problem solved. Job's a good one. What's next?
when you keep repeating this fat with carbs,
Yeah, well, don't do that. Sir Philip Randall identified the reason why you shouldn't do that in 1962. We've known it that long. Why haven't you?
increase the need for insulin. That's called insulin resistance.
Oh, you can call it whatever you like, my lovely. It doesn't mean that it's a pathology, because it isn't, the effect that you're talking about here, which is moderated, again, parsimoniously by the thing that we describe as the Randall cycle or its effects, even though it's not a cycle, that's for another day. It's indicated, it's utilitarian, it protects your cells from the damage they would suffer were you to eat that butter and bread at the same time, without the Randall cycle doing what it does quite correctly, which is not a pathology. Okay? All right.
And this is because fat from this butter downregulates your insulin receptors, which essentially turns off your mitochondria's ability to process this white starch.
No, not strictly correct either. That's not exactly the mechanism by which it occurs. What you said is correct in that it tones down the ability of a cell to absorb glucose from the bloodstream. But as I've said, there's a reason for that, and that's to protect the cell from the damage that it would suffer were the concentration of glucose inside that cell allowed to elevate above the physiological range. It's called glycation, the damage that glucose does, excess glucose above requirement. The begging the question fallacy here that this ridiculous buffoon here is talking about is that she believes, it seems, that you should be able to eat as much toxic carbohydrate as you like, carte blanche. And eating fat interferes with that in some way, a way that she has no understanding of, whatever, and that's bad, okay? Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Golly gosh. Ted's cross, aren't you, Ted? Yes, I'm very cross indeed. See? I knew he'd agree with me. He always does. Well, that's not true either. Okay.
The same thing will happen when you add your butter to coffee. And this is why influencers tell you when you eat fat, you can't eat carbohydrates like starch. Simply put, your body doesn't have the bandwidth to metabolize both types of energy at the same time.
Yes, that is correct. Parsimonious, but that's correct. So what? That's the design. That's not a pathology. That's normal metabolic function for a human being, encoded for in your very gene set.
The presence of fat inhibits your body's ability to process starch.
Yes, as it should.
However, regardless of whether or not you eat starch, your insulin receptors will be downregulated in the presence of fat.
Yes. So what?
That means you will have less insulin receptors, which will make you insulin resistant.
Yes, if your ridiculous definition of this insulin resistance is being used, which it is, by you and many others, to which my response every single time one of you idiots says this is, so? What's the problem with that? Till we wait for that. The only thing that they'll be able to say in response to that question is, well, it means you can't eat a bunch of carbohydrates. To which my answer is, so what? Remind us once again what the exact dietary requirement for exogenous carbohydrates is in human beings. Still, none. Not 1 single gram ever. No problem. All right? Good. You're welcome.
Even if you don't see high blood sugars. That's simply because without insulin receptors, your insulin cannot work. It's like visiting your grandmother, but her doorbell was removed. If grandma is hard of hearing, then she won't answer the door and you will never get in. And no.
Yeah, but again, visiting grandma and toxic carbohydrates entering your cells is not really the same thing. I get the analogy you're attempting to make there, and it's not too far from correct in terms of the effects of the Randall cycle. However, the implication that you are still making is that while it might be necessary, beneficial, and good to visit grandma, sugar is not you, and the delicate inside workings of your cells are not grandma's house, and you're not sugar. If I didn't say that already. Okay, so the analogy is inept, inapt, fallacious, and frankly ridiculous beyond belief. Because, once again, shall we say it, the requirement for carbohydrates from exogenous sources in human beings is not 1 single gram ever. Okay?
No matter how many grandchildren show up, she still won't let people in because she doesn't realize people are outside waiting.
Or indeed grandma is sensible and knows that those grandkids are going to wreck her fucking house. That's a better analogy, isn't it? Grandma's smart. Grandma pretends to be deaf, but in fact what she's doing is locking the door from the inside to keep those little bastards out. Rightly so. Grandma spent her whole life building this house, putting all those nice things up, all those dust collectors and doilies and shit that Grandma's got in there. She does not need those little bastards coming in there and fucking things up for her. So she locks the door and pretends she can't hear you. Grandma's smart. Dr. Healthy Immune Doc is dumb as fuck. All right? That's the take-home message here. I knew it would happen at some point, but I'd get cross. There it is. It's all an act, don't worry. I'm under control, sort of. But I like to give you that edge that I'm a bit dangerous and could go off at any stage. It's kind of a hook. Does it work? Do you like it? Some people don't. Fuck them.
This is a problem with glucose metabolism.
Ah, glucose metabolism. Right. So again, how much glucose is required exogenously?
It will wait indefinitely when there is insulin resistance caused by so many ways, and eating lots of fat is one of them.
Right, okay, so you're an ignorant turd, you silly woman, with no idea whatsoever about human physiology, nutritional requirements, common sense even. Good.
Now, pretty soon, some of her grandkids will be tired and start leaning against the wall. And in California, if you did that, you would be destroying her stucco. So essentially, you'll be breaking grandma's foundation of her home.
Right. So the sacrificial lambs become the endothelial cells, the red cells, and the other formed elements in the blood, which luckily can be replaced much more easily than the much more complex cells like muscle cells, for example. Much more easily using a system of adult stem cells known as the CD34 adult stem cell system. Luckily, also, if you want to improve the effect of that, you can use this fine product here called Stem Enhance Ultra, which you can get from the link that's wending its way across the bottom of the screen on that yellow banner there, bkaynutrition.sarul.com. It encourages your bone marrow to release vastly more CD34 plus adult stem cells into your bloodstream, whereupon they find tissues and things around your body that are in need of renewal or repair, and they do that. Isn't that awesome? Right, let's carry on.
Causing inflammation to the wall. And this is what happens when glucose hangs out in the blood vessels too long.
Yeah, but how do you prevent that, love? Oh, yeah. Stop pouring carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck. Job's a good one.
Breaks the walls of the blood vessels. And you have blood vessels all over your body, including your brain. The blood vessels in your brain form a protective barrier called the blood-brain barrier that normally prevents toxins from getting into your brain. If your glucose is too high, you break that blood-brain barrier, and then you will be letting in...
So again, remind me how it is that your blood glucose gets too high. It's not from eating butter, is it, love? We've covered that. To get your glucose elevated above where it needs to be, you need to pour carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck. So don't do that. Problem solved. End of diabetes. You're welcome. I know that's not the answer that Big Pharma wants, or the allopathic medicinal community. They don't want that answer. Do you know why not? Because they can't monetize that. There you go. If you're a type 2 diabetic, I just saved you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I probably just saved your life if you listen to what I said and take that on board. Stop eating carbohydrates. All right? We're done.
A lot of things your brain shouldn't get in. I hope that you now understand why butter and bread is a worse combination of food to eat.
Yeah, we understood that in the first place. One of those is at least neutral, if not actually health promoting perhaps. One of those contains essential nutrients for a human, and one of them is completely and utterly unnecessary and should not be consumed. We knew that already. You haven't added a damn thing, except absolute clarity, my love, that you are as ignorant as fuck. Sorry about that, not sorry.
And one way to eliminate...
You make yourself a viable target when you come online and make these ridiculous fucking videos. Okay? You come online and you say this ridiculous, nonsensical bullshit, my love, and I'll come after you. Okay?
The high insulin requirements is to maybe eliminate the bread. But are you really...
Yes. There you go. That's the first sensible thing you've said in the entire movie. Movie? Film? Video?
Reversing the pathophysiology when you do that?
Yes. Yes, you will, because the pathophysiology, my love, is chronically elevated blood glucose, which requires you to pour carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck. So stop doing that. End of the diabetes. What you're about to say is that that doesn't solve the pathophysiology, which is insulin resistance, which once again points to your destitution of comprehension. Again, perhaps you should go back to the beginning of my response to your video and re-educate yourself. This time, listen with your mind open and your mouth shut. One of the things I learned from my dear mother, bless her, was she said to me repeatedly, "Son, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That is the proportion in which they ought to be used." Okay? What's next?
when you're eating fat, there's still going to be less insulin receptors. And this is why when you challenge yourself after you go on a high-fat diet, you have problems tolerating anything with sugar and starch.
Right, so again, remind us how much sugar and starch is required exogenously in human beings. Remind us again of that figure, love. Still fucking 0, isn't it? Okay, what's next?
You get really high blood sugars.
Yes, so don't fucking do that. No? Okay.
High blood sugars is a symptom of insulin resistance.
No. High blood sugars is a symptom of pouring unnecessary, toxic overburden of carbohydrates down your ignorant, stupid fucking neck. Insulin resistance is a construct, still. Wow. Wow.
And you won't see it unless you eat starch and sugar like
This woman has over 500,000 fucking subs. Why does that make me cross? Well, it should be obvious. Because of the vast damage this ignorant fucksplat is doing to an unsuspecting public who thinks she's credible. Because she says MD professor. Wow. Super chat action, love it. Let's have more of that. Let's have much more super chat action. Ted is not cheap to feed, frankly. His ego isn't anyway. All right, so we need more super chats so that we can repair Pimbatia, build back better. We're going to build a wall, and the vegans are going to pay for it. But in the meantime, you guys are. By subterfuge, okay? Thanks for the $5. Love it.
bread. But once you have the insulin resistance, you really don't have to eat butter to have free fatty acids in your blood. That's because your body has its own personal store. Pinch that love handle on your abdomen.
Yeah, but what's the way to cause your body to be storing adipose tissue, especially around your midsection, love? Because it's not eating fat, is it? Fuck's sake.
People with diabetes, they constantly release their own free fatty acids as triglycerides from their own fat cells. That's how energy is stored, in triglycerides. And normally, when you eat starch and sugar, it's...
Thank you for the super chat. Love it. Mind crash. Thank you. Josephine has been a member for 16 months. That's another way that you can help support Pimbatia and help support the channel, is by being a member. What I would suggest to you is, if you do go to the YouTubes and give them your credit card details and say, I want to be a member of this fine channel, please charge my credit card on a monthly basis, that you check on a monthly basis that you're still a member. Do you know why? Because YouTube unilaterally will unsub you at some point from my channel. Because they don't like me. Because I say naughty things. Unapproved narrative. Okay? It will happen, because it's happened many times already. People that give YouTube their credit card details and say, I want to be a member, charge my credit card to be a member, they will unilaterally unsub you. Incredible. Trust me, it happens often. Juliet, love you, Juliet. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. There we go. Now things are rolling. That's the way it should be. Very good. Keep it going for the rest of the show, folks. There's some more income there from Amit Koran. Very good. 15 something or others. Love it. Love it. I don't know what the something or others are, but we'll take them. Yes. All right. Anyway, let's carry on hearing more about the diabetes, though, and the insulin resistance, though.
Stimulates the release of insulin that tells your fat cells to store this extra sugar or starch if you're
Extra sugar or starch. Do you see that? There it is.
not burning it off. And it stores it
Burning it off, you say. That's not strictly what happens either, love.
as free fatty acids. But when a person becomes insulin resistant,
It's still a construct.
even the fat cells, they refuse to store the excess calories. And that
Oh, oh dear idea. Oh, I thought it couldn't possibly get any worse. How foolish of me. Calories, you say. Good. All right. Perhaps when you've finished watching this review of your pustulous, excremental garbage, love, here, perhaps you should go and watch my playlist on Carolees, though, and CICO and stuff. That'll be some education for you, because that's underpinned by basic physics. where your statement there that you just made is actually at odds with basic physics. You just suggested that people have a capacity to consume some calories. No, they don't. Calories are manifest as photons with no rest mass, ergo cannot be brought to rest in any inertial frame. Ergo, you can't consume them, ever, not one. Sorry about that, not sorry. What's next?
That's another mechanism of insulin resistance.
No, it fucking isn't.
Complex, isn't it?
No, it's just wrong, love, is what you're saying. It's not complex. What you're saying is fallacious. It's wrong. Demonstrably, absolutely at odds with basic physics. Goodness gracious.
To some people, this whole concept may seem okay for your brain because you would think you have an advantage for your brain to have an endless supply of free fatty acids because you think it's fatty. However, people don't realize that fatty acids are not just energy molecules. They're also signaling molecules. And when you have high triglycerides, it actually messes with your brain.
High according to whom on the basis of what?
Brain's regulation of appetite. It induces central leptin and insulin receptor resistance.
Because it should. That's the indicated mechanism. Encoded for by your very gene set, which has survived the entire evolutionary process to this point, and knows vastly more about what it's doing, clearly, love, than what you do. Okay?
Leptin is needed to turn off your appetite. When you have leptin resistance, you lose control of your appetite and you tend to eat more. Have you ever?
Well, only if you don't have the self-discipline required to manage your intakes, which you should do not by trying to count units of heat energy, by the way.
Ever felt out of control with your food and eating even though you're not hungry? Maybe it's because it has also changed your dopamine levels and it increased your dopamine to drive you to seek to more pleasurable foods.
You know how I said keep those super chats coming a few minutes ago? Remember I said that? Don't make Ted repeat himself. He'll be cross if we don't get enough payment for today's services to mankind. And then he'll take it out on me because I'm the only option for him.
Basically, it makes you behave like an addict when it comes to eating foods. In addition, high triglycerides, they also contribute to dementia by reducing blood flow. Remember, when it hangs around, it causes inflammation, atherosclerosis.
No, triglycerides do not cause inflammation or atherosclerosis. No, they fucking don't. You ignorant woman. Wrong.
In the blood vessels. And when you eat fat, you prevent yourself from breaking down your own fat. Some of you may have a hard time believing this.
Well, it's not that we have a hard time believing you, love. It's that you're wrong. Completely, absolutely, arse about face wrong. Desperately, hopelessly, unsavably wrong.
When you eat fat, you get more insulin resistant. Well,
It's still a construct. Still a false construct, described fallaciously by imbeciles such as yourself as a pathology of some kind. Still wrong. Sorry about that.
they've done this study a long time ago.
They've done this study. Who's they? W.D. Sansom, M.D., N.R. Blatherwick, Ph.D., and Ruth Bowen, B.S. Well, that's a giveaway, isn't it? All right. And what's the study say? The use of high carbohydrate diets in the treatment of diabetes mellitus. So what you're suggesting there is this is a paper that suggests to us that the cure for an aberrant, abnormal blood glucose level chronically, and what diabetes really is actually a lack of control of the blood glucose, more than actually it's chronically elevated. It's actually that it's uncontrolled. And the cure for too much carbohydrate is to consume a diet which is high in carbohydrate. Do we even need to see this paper to realise how fucking ridiculous that is? Do we? Mark's a new member. That's a good choice, Mark. That's valid. Now you're in the know. We'll teach you the secret handshake later. Meet Ted down the back of class afterwards. He'll show you the secret So he will. Right, tell us all about the high carbohydrate diet being a cure for too much carbohydrate in the bloodstream, though, love. For fuck's sake, are you serious? Are you stoned? Can I get some of what you've been smoking? Because that'd be awesome.
They split.
Have you ever been to fucking Objective Reality, love? That's my question, really.
Normal people into 4 food groups.
Yep.
One got no food, so they fasted. One had a high-fat diet. One
According to whom, on the basis of what? What's high fat, love?
had a high-protein diet.
Again, same question.
And one had a high-carb diet.
Same question. You're going to give us that detail? Because that's pretty important, isn't it?
And guess which group, after getting a carbohydrate tolerance test,
All right, so a test of tolerating an unnecessary toxin, i.e. exogenous carbohydrates above a certain individual threshold level,
meaning they were all challenged with the same amount of carbs, performed the worst on their blood
performed the worst. So do you see how that's a value judgment statement and actually nothing whatever to do with objective reality, physiological design, biological design, or normal function for a human being? Because normal function for a human being does not include the intake of large boluses or boli of carbohydrates. That's a modern thing that we've added to our lifestyles fallaciously, erroneously, and stupidly, really.
sugar levels. Well, you probably didn't guess it. It would be the fasting diet, that means no food, and the high-fat diet. So clinically, we see this, and we've been seeing this for a long, long time.
That's because it's not a surprise, and it's exactly what we'd expect, and it's not a pathology of any kind. It's normal function for a human being.
And that's why processed foods with both ingredients makes your blood sugars even worse.
Correct. Standalone, that statement that you just made is correct, yes. Mixing carbohydrates and fats, extremely bad idea. We've known that since 1962, as I said earlier.
However, eating fat is very different than breaking down your own fat, because when you eat fat, you actually get an extra dose of LPS, or lipopolysaccharide, that are found in the outer layers of gram-negative bacteria. Now, you have trillions of bacteria in your gut, and super high lipopolysaccharide levels are known as endotoxin. The same stuff.
So how is it then that all of us over here in the community of carnivores that eat a lot of fat don't all drop dead from endotoxins, love? Are we done with that now? Okay, what's next?
That causes sepsis, which is severe.
Yes, that's right. We're all dying of sepsis over here, aren't we? I died of sepsis yesterday. God, it was inconvenient. I had other things to do.
Inflammation in multiple organs to cause organ failure.
Yes, all my organs failed. It was terrible yesterday. I wasn't planning on dying of sepsis yesterday, but there you go. That's my own fault for eating so much fat, isn't it? You ridiculous cunt. What's next?
Including in your brain. Dementia is, in essence, organ failure. Now, the term metabolic endotoxemia happens when you consume fatty foods.
And under no other circumstances? Oh, God. Who's paying you, love? What is your funding source?
Because fatty foods cause the formation of chylomicrons. You have to have a transportation system to process the fat. That's your chylomicrons. Making chylomicrons increases the absorption of lipopolysaccharide.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, so it can be fucking eliminated, you silly bitch.
Cause a chronic inflammatory state in the body.
Oh, that's right, we're all chronically inflamed. Look how chronically inflamed I am. Or, let's look at imagery of a bunch of people that eat a whole bunch of carbohydrates and not much fat and see if they look inflamed at all. Shall we? It seems like your ridiculous theological model here, your construct, doesn't bear out an objective reality for some reason. I'll tell you what the reason is. It's because it's fucking nonsense. Okay? Quite right, Alexander C. Quite right indeed. My word, it just goes from ridiculous to unbelievable, doesn't it? Righto, carry on, they love.
This phenomenon can happen with just one meal. Eating one emulsified saturated fat
Yes, if you eat a single meal containing fat, you'll drop dead of endotoxemia. That's what'll happen. Are you retarded? Yep.
meal like butter or coconut oil. And you can actually reduce it if you switch your oil quality to
oh, fuck me sideways. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, let's all eat polyunsaturates, shall we? Good idea. I think you should go and acquaint yourself with Dr. Paul Mason, love.
polyunsaturated fatty acids. You know how you feel when you eat a pretty heavy meal? Well, this could be causing your food coma. That's abnormal. When my mom
Yeah, the food coma that you feel after meals, love, is when you have a problem with your blood glucose management, it seems, actually.
was around, we used to go eat at this Chinese restaurant every weekend. And if you've ever eaten Chinese food, a lot of it is super
I have. Love it. It's not very good for you, but I love it.
greasy. It's fried, it's stir fried in oil. And I never felt bad eating it. At least I didn't think I did. Well, ever since I became more strict in my diet and I don't eat out with greasy, oily stuff anymore, I feel so different when I go back to it if we go out for a restaurant for some special event. I honestly can't eat stir-fried foods from restaurants or deep-fried foods anymore. It makes me feel so bad after I eat it. And I never noticed this difference until I stopped doing it. Well, what does this have to do with dementia? Well, it turns out Alzheimer's patients have a higher than normal level of LPS endotoxin in their blood. And amazingly, normal people have volunteered to have lipopolysaccharide injected in their blood, and it actually induced memory problems.
Yeah, see, if you understood the thing that we've been referring to parsimoniously as the Randall cycle, lovey, you'd understand that not only does fat discourage the uptake and metabolism of carbohydrate, but the opposite is also true. The reason, for example, Alzheimer's disease has been referred to more lately as type 3 diabetes is because of that. Okay? Wow. Yep. People who eat a lot of fat and no carbohydrates are not represented overly in a population of Alzheimer patients. Isn't that interesting?
Now, when they experimented on mice with
Oh, well, let's hear all about the mice studies, because they're very relevant to human beings, aren't they? I was just saying the other day, before I died of endotoxemia, that is, that I identify as a mouse, and everyone should respect my identity, otherwise you're a bigot and full of hate. Next time, however, that I am talking to a mouse about its dietary requirements and its health status, I will be sure to mention this mouse study, love. All right? Very good.
LPS, it caused little mice to get amyloid plaques and tau tangles. Now,
Oh dear, poor little mices. I hate mices to pieces. Rats are even worse. We have rats in our roof space. Trying to get rid of them. It's like trying to get rid of buffoons on the interwebs. You get one and another one springs up in its place. It's incredible. This one has 500,000 fucking subs. I cannot fucking believe that many people in the world are that fucking stupid. Sadly, I'm wrong. They are that stupid. Pisses me off no end. Never mind.
people aren't mice, but I can
Good.
attest that lipopolysaccharide is deadly. And
Good. Well, let's avoid that then, shall we? How do you do that again? Let's break that word down, shall we? Lipo, to do with fats. Poly, many of. Saccharide, polysaccharide. What's that, love? Should we help you? Should we help her out? Poly, many, saccharide, sugar molecules, many sugar molecules appended to a fat backbone. Okay, are we done? What's next?
Changes people's brain.
Yes, apparently.
People oftentimes get microscopic intestinal perforations that we can capture in blood cultures, and they can get so sick that they end up obtunded in the ICU. Now, if they recover, they are never the same.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, they continue to have this ICU brain.
Yeah, and how many of those, love, ate fat and meat and not carbohydrates? How many? Shall we fucking wait? Right.
Initially, they're confused on location and time and whether it's night or day. We call it sundowning. Now, if you get a frank perforation, we can capture this on blood cultures and on diagnostic imaging, like maybe an X-ray if it's big enough, or CT scans. And surgeons can oftentimes see this in surgery. The larger the perforation, the higher the burden of LPS, the deadlier the condition. So it's not uncommon to get a lethal dose of LPS when you're septic. Septic patients often present with personality changes and the inability to stay awake.
How does this relate to diet in any way, love?
My mom had sepsis. I picked her up one day for a routine doctor's appointment, but she had this odd facial expression when she got in the car. I mean, she literally locked her door, walked into my car, and could answer some simple questions, but there was just something odd about her that day. She wasn't herself. And all she could say was she wasn't feeling so great. And at the doctor's office, she had a rapid pounding heart rate and a temperature of almost 103. And I was flabbergasted that that doctor didn't have a blood pressure meter. So I left that doctor's office. We went straight to the emergency room, and that's when her blood pressure tanked. Luckily, in the emergency room, they were able to get her some fluids and antibiotics to treat her infection. She had urosepsis. So she had sepsis from her bladder. So you don't have to perforate your gut to have sepsis. Really, any part of your body exposed to germs is a...
Fascinating as this all is, I think we've gone completely off the topic of why it is, in your mind, you silly, ridiculous, ignorant woman, that we should avoid fat and eat a bunch of carbohydrates. Because you haven't produced a damn thing that would convince us in any way, shape or form that you even have the first notion of what the fuck it is you're talking about. Have you? We're not even halfway through this video. Wow.
Potential source of LPS. And had I not shown up at my mom's house that day, well, she probably wouldn't have made it.
Hi, friends. I am so thrilled that you want to take charge of your health and take charge of your food. Now, I know nutrition can be complex.
No, love.
It doesn't have to be. And I'm here to support you in this lifelong journey. So if you point your
Yeah, but what actually qualifies you to do so, love? Because it's quite clear that you have absolutely not the first fucking clue of what you're talking about at all.
camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you.
Right, well, I think that people should avoid that like the plague. They should spurn that as they would spurn a rabid dog.
And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes, and then you can leave me your feedback on what...
I think I've been quite clear with my feedback here on this video, love. Perhaps you should watch it in full several times until you understand how stupid it is that you've been to this point.
I could do to help you in your journey.
You can't help us with dick, love. Clearly. You're as ignorant as fuck.
Okay, back to the video now.
Yeah,
Now, many
good.
of you know that the brain can use ketones as fuels.
Oh, fuck, here we go.
So why don't we just all give up carbohydrates like this white bread?
Ah, good. Love it. Yes, why don't we do that?
Because it's going to just spike your sugars.
That's right. She does get it, it seems. Holy fuck. Clearly she's going to tell us why it's a bad idea, though, somehow.
And by the way, did you know that white bread will spike your sugar higher than if you eat table sugar?
Yes, I did know that. Well, that's what they claim in the GI scale. What you clearly don't understand, love, is that the noise around the signal in the GI scale original investigations that were done was so vast as to make the scale of no utility predictively in any one given individual at any time. The noise between individuals and within a given individual was just massive, huge. The GI scale is an anti-scientific bit of propaganda, as it turns out. It has no utility at all. So there we go.
And that's because white bread is made out of starch, which is pure glucose. But when you eat table sugar, only half of that is glucose. The other half is fructose. And between eating candy and white bread, I'd rather eat white bread because fructose is known to be a liver toxin.
That's right. Did you hear that misinformation by Victoria? See? Even this buffoon here knows that. How come you didn't know that? Other than you get your advice from durian fucking rider, Harley Johnson, who has no training of any kind. By the way, people should look at an image of Harley Johnson on Vegan Deterioration's channel, Shah's channel, that she put up when she did a review of my debate with Victoria, Misinformation by Victoria. Harley Johnson in the last 5 years, wow, on the aging. Holy fuck. If you thought Saladino was bad, go and check it out. You're welcome, Shah, and I'd like to talk to you again soon, so let's do that. Let's have another discussion. Jacob, thank you very much for the $10. Appreciate that. Yeah. Wow, yes, go and have a look at Durian Rider's aging lately. Woo!
Blood sugar machines aren't designed to measure fructose. That's why we don't see it even higher. But we know fructose increases fat in your liver, makes your liver insulin resistant.
Oh my God, you silly bitch. Follow up a correct statement with one that's fundamentally wrong. Okie dokie.
And this is another way to get insulin resistant.
Oh, good. I'm glad there's another way to get this fallacious construct that you've put together. Well, not you. You didn't even have the intelligence to put this together. You're just mindlessly parroting something that you obviously don't know any fucking thing about.
But really, is the solution to quit all carbohydrates?
Yes, it is. Still.
Let's take the metabolism of an athlete.
Good, an athlete. So now you're an exercise physiologist as well? No, you're not. Sadly for you, love, I fucking am, as well as a cardiovascular pathophysiologist. So let's go on that, shall we? Oh, I didn't see that one coming.
Kenyan Boston Marathon runner could easily eat up this white bread and use all of the glucose just with a light jog.
Yes, so what?
In Kenya, the dementia rate is 9% in those who are older than 60. In the USA, they predict our risk of developing dementia is 42% after age 55.
Yes, yes. And are all these people eating diets high in fat and devoid of carbohydrate? No? So what is your fucking point? Hello, Dave. How are you, mate? Good to see you here, but it would be even better to see you here. You're AWOL, Field Marshal. There's work to do here. We're lambing. By the way, the lambing, that's not been going that well. Many of our ewes are first-time mothers. We don't really know what we're doing with the lambing. We've never done it before. We've had 9 lambs born, and 5 of them have not made it to this point. So it's been a bit emotionally draining and tough on everybody around Pimbata at the moment, which currently is Ted, myself, Her Majesty Pim, Queen of Pirates, etc., my sister, and 2 nieces aged 12 and 16. That's our workforce right now. We have no defence force to speak of because Ted's not very helpful. I'm doing other things. And you're not fucking here, Dave. You're somewhere else. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. When the general staff is AWOL, what are you going to do? We might as well just shut up shop.
I don't know about you, but that's just not going to happen to me.
Oh, you carry on eating sugar then, love. That's your funeral. That's fine. Couldn't give a rip-roaring fuck. But don't be telling other people they should do the same thing. Because there is absolutely no justification whatever for exogenous carbohydrates still.
But for me to be successful, I have to pick the right diet.
That's right. And carbohydrate-rich diet is not the right one, love.
So I really need to know what eating glucose will do to my brain.
That's right. You do. Let's hear that.
And it's been shown that it's in Alzheimer's disease, the ability of astrocytes and microglia to metabolize glucose decreases. But astrocytes are not neurons. They do, however, play important support roles for neurons to supply them with energy. And this is why some people think that supplying enough ketones through eating fat can bypass the inability of the cells to use glucose. However, the problem with why they can't process glucose correctly is because the brain has lost mitochondria.
Hang on a minute, love. Now you're implying, by lack of a statement clearly to the contrary, that if you do not consume carbohydrates, then you will not have sufficient glucose. Which is false. Gluconeogenesis is still a thing, it still exists, and it still works perfectly. Sorry about that, not sorry. So no, that won't be an acceptable argument for eating carbohydrates either. Have you got any arguments that support? I know you don't, because they do not fucking exist. Okay? It doesn't matter what you say, love. There is no way to justify a diet rich in carbohydrates and poor in fat. No way at all. It will not wash.
So just supplying more energy and ketones is not going to fix the underlying problem of a lack of mitochondria.
Pardon?
In fact, it may accelerate the problem and cause more oxidative stress. Oxidative stress
Define oxidative stress for us, love. Go on.
destroys mitochondria. And
How do you know? Define oxidative stress. What is that? Shall we fucking wait? It's another construct, isn't it, love? Yep.
this is the price we pay by making energy. And the more ATP energy you make, the higher the oxidative stress.
False. Well, conditionally correct is what I should really say there. See, the thing is, the thing that you're referring to falsely as oxidative stress is actually variable, sure, by the amount of energetic substrates being oxidized by the mitochondria, but also the balance of what those are has an effect on this thing. Doesn't it? Yep.
It's like a battery for your computer.
No, it's not. It's nothing like a battery for your computer. Not even remotely similar, in fact. Wrong.
Have you ever noticed that it gets really hot when you're overusing it and then it shuts off? Well, mitochondria are the batteries of your cells. And
No, that's a very poor analogy indeed, love.
every time you make ATP, you make energy, you're also going to dissipate toxins that are created from generating that energy. These
Such as? What toxins are those, love?
toxins give your brain oxidative stress.
Yes, what toxins? And again, you still haven't defined oxidative stress.
And literally can kill.
Oh, literally. Well, that makes it clear. Thank you. You've used the word literally, which literally adds absolutely nothing whatever to whatever it is you're about to say, doesn't it? What are you going to say, though?
Mitochondria and brain cells. So metabolizing ketones from fat just means you're generating more ATP and more oxidative trash that comes with it.
What oxidative trash are you referring to, love? Still. Because what are the outputs of oxidative metabolism? ATP, H2O, and CO2. Which one of those is trash, love? If you're talking about free radicals, which I suspect you are, which ones are you talking about? And have you ever heard of the suite of antioxidants produced by the body which deal with that? No? Again, okay, that's no surprise.
If you don't have a plan to take care of that oxidative trash, it
What oxidative trash still?
just destroys tissue. Now, I
In what way, exactly? Given that actually that doesn't occur because of the very suite of antioxidants produced endogenously by the human metabolism that deals with that situation, if you're talking about free radicals. No? Okay.
know some people have reported that they feel better and think better when they're on a ketogenic diet.
That's because they do feel better and think better on a ketogenic diet. That's why they're reporting that.
And I don't discount
Either that or they're shills for the ketogenic community, apparently. Whatever the hell that is.
that because half the benefit of doing a ketogenic diet is just to remove the toxins that was in your diet before you started.
Well, hang on a minute. You just said that it creates a bunch of toxins. Which is it? Oh my God.
Like in this refined bread. But The lack of energy is not the only problem with dementia. Have you ever seen the brain scan of a person with dementia? Or
Yeah, yes, I have. What's your point?
maybe a person with strokes? Well,
Yes. What's your point?
demented people and people who have strokes, they have holes in their brain. That
Not universally, love.
indicates that their brain is shrinking. They have lost and will continue to lose brain cells. And it's not just because
I'm losing brain cells just listening to you, love. Perhaps I'm having a stroke. Or Ted is. Good boy, Ted.
you lack energy. It's actually a structural problem. The foundation of your memory is an internet of neurons.
Again, remember, this was her model of the brain. This represents the brain. This, whatever the fuck that is. Ah, dear.
And glial cells that make the structure of your brain.
Yes, that's what the brain looks like, exactly. I'm glad you're here to elucidate the brain structure with that pile of whatever the hell that is.
So every time you learn, you're building synapses. You are growing arms on neurons. You're actually growing more neurons. This builds more brain tissue, the hardware of your brain. This strengthens your brain to protect you from dementia.
What does? That pile of unnecessary, probably carbohydrate of some kind? No, it fucking doesn't.
But you don't just need more brain tissue, you actually need the right signaling molecules called neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
And bad marketing has convinced people to perk your brain through stimulants like caffeine and sugar. Have you ever tried an energy drink?
Yes. Terrible, aren't they?
Or maybe a blended coffee drink? Do they actually make you smarter or just land you in the ED faster? By now you know that
Well, we don't know either of those things. It's unlikely that they're of any use whatsoever, but to suggest that they will land you in the ED, well, what backs that up? Nothing at all. It's just theology, love.
is not my way of life. I don't do temporary fixes.
You don't do fixes at all, love. You pour carbohydrates down your stupid fucking neck and tell people to avoid fats. Which is as dumb as fuck. It really is. What's next?
Because it may not actually fix the problem. But I do eat a diet high in the right carbohydrates.
There is no such thing. You ignorant, stupid little girl. Incredible.
And why is that? Now, before you go on,
Because you're stupid, ignorant, arrogant, and dripping with Dunning-Kruger. That's why.
often say I don't know anything about nutrition
There you go.
because I'm a medically trained doctor. I want you to keep in mind that I'm also a professional learner.
Ah, well, in that case, I'm a gynecologist. No experience, but I'll take a look at it for you, love. Okay? I'm an expert in absolutely everything because I say so. Fuck me, are you serious? She is? That's the problem. She's really serious. Wow.
Athletes, they train their bodies to perform.
Again, I'm an exercise physiologist, love. You are not. At all.
For their competitions. Well, medical doctors, including myself, we've been training our brains to perform in competitions our whole life.
No, you haven't.
We have taken countless numbers of tests. We
Yeah, tests of your ability to regurgitate falsehoods. So what?
write thousands of essays charting.
About falsehoods, yeah. So what?
We care for our families and our tens of thousands of patients. We drive on the freeways. We go to church. Essentially,
Not everybody does.
what we're doing is engaging with real people and acting.
Yeah, but not in a way that's helpful to them. Have you seen public health statistics, lovely? Perhaps you should look those up and see how the allopathic community is doing in that regard. Then maybe you should get your fucking ego under control. Pull your fucking head in and stay in your fucking lane. How about that? That'd be a fine thing, wouldn't it?
Actively training our brains to prevent dementia. But I'm in it for the long run, not just for short-term performance. And that's why I meticulously eat certain foods and I avoid others. No, I didn't learn nutrition in medical school,
That's right, you did not.
nor did I learn how to be an infectious disease doctor in medical school.
No, that's right, you didn't.
Nor did I learn how to make YouTube videos in medical school.
No, that's correct as well, clearly.
And by the way, a neurosurgeon never learned how to perform neurosurgery in medical school.
That's right, they didn't. They did that after their medical school training as a specialisation. But they did learn on the job, didn't they?
That's not the job of medical school.
That's right.
School, no matter where you're going, what degree you get just teaches you how to learn. And if you stop learning after you graduate from school, well, you just wasted that degree. And the reason why I would never go low carb is because it turns out the brain needs sugar for structure.
There you go. Gluconeogenesis is not a thing. It does not exist according to this ignorant, stupid woman. Right there. There it is. Maybe you should have kept learning after medical school. And how is it that you got through medical school without learning that gluconeogenesis is a thing, exists and does the job of creating all the glucose required by the human system from non-glucose precursors? How could you possibly have passed medical school without that knowledge? Please explain. Shall we wait? Good.
But you have to eat the right type. This carbohydrate has no antioxidants.
Ah, well, then it's terrible, isn't it? What does that break down to when you eat it, by the way? That glucose starch there. Is it glucose? Yes. Okay, good. What's next?
Beneath this. But this carbohydrate is full of antioxidants. These
Such as? Should we wait for that? And again, begging the question fallacy, do we require antioxidants from our diet, or do we have a suite of antioxidants that our body produces itself? Yes, we do. Also, do we get antioxidant activity by grounding ourselves electrically to the earth? Yes, we do. So the exact requirement for dietary antioxidants is exactly the same as that for carbohydrates. Not one single molecule of them ever. Still. What's next, love?
are black beans. They are colored with antioxidants.
As you say, but that's not necessary. And often the so-called antioxidants that you'll find in plant materials won't actually do that job because of anti-nutrients and other toxins, irritants, and things that you'll find with the plant materials, love. Perhaps you should do some research into that.
Because every time you eat molecules that potentially can turn into energy for your brain, whether it's fat or sugar, you're going to produce a ton of oxidative stress.
Again, you've said that already and you haven't defined it. What is that you're talking about? What oxidative stress is that? Still.
And this is why eating white refined flour doesn't help you manage the toxins from the energy that this...
Which toxins are you talking about still?
will generate. Neither will eating butter. But unlike eating these foods, when you eat foods rich in antioxidants...
You really are an ignorant woman, aren't you? You really are as stupid as fuck. It stuns me that people like you have the arrogance to come online and make these ridiculous fucking videos as if you have the first fucking clue of what you're talking about. It's fucking ridiculous, love. Go and be an MD. That's what you're trained in. Go and do that. And imagine that you're doing a service to mankind in some way by doing that, which you fucking aren't.
They help you mitigate the oxidative stress. And
so does the endogenous antioxidant suite of molecules that your body produces itself, and so does grounding to the earth. What's your point?
this is a problem with social media. People have simplified the
Yes, that's the problem with social media. Obviously. Wow.
body's biochemistry to the point that they're damaging their health, not protecting their brain. And
Oh my God, seriously?
they have an astronomical rate of dementia.
Yes, and how many of those people eat fat and protein and animal fat and nothing else, love? How many of those people are represented in the dementia statistics?
It's like playing in the stock market. You really going to think that you can time the market, predict which stock is going to hit the jackpot? You're going to lose your shirt in the long run, not have a retirement account. You're basically playing with fire when you're playing in the stock market, limiting it to one stock.
You're also playing very, very dangerous game, pretending you are remotely competent to talk about something that you absolutely, demonstrably and patently are totally incompetent to discuss publicly, love. That's playing with fire too. That's actually tantamount to malpractice. You have no business whatever discussing nutrition publicly. None at all. You are an ignorant imbecile. You are an arrogant, ignorant imbecile with Dunning-Kruger dripping from every fucking pore. You need to stop. You need to stop today. I will be watching, and I will come after you in these videos. Shut the fuck up. Am I clear?
Likewise, when you focus on food as a pure energy source when it clearly isn't, you neglect the structural maintenance of your brain to keep it healthy. And by the way, nobody has an energy problem, folks. We have an overabundance of energy no matter what you pick
Energy is also a construct, my love.
to eat, whether it's glucose or fat. That's not the problem in our modern world. We are full of energy. In
Some people are full of all sorts of things, love.
fact, most of our diseases are an abundance and overindulgence of energy. And
No. No. Wrong. Wrong again. It's physical matter of various different forms that cause problems in terms of the dietary apparent effects on long-term health, love. It's nothing to do with energy, nothing whatsoever, still.
the average American has a grade A+++ in consuming energy-rich foods. But we have neglected the vital role of nutrition, which is
something that you know absolutely exactly nothing about. Exactly dick about fuck is your knowledge of human nutrition, love.
remodel your entire body to build structure and to protect its structure. Hence, we have an obsession on the wrong low-carb diets focused on energy and inadvertently neglecting the important role of glucose to build structure of your brain.
There you go once again. Gluconeogenesis does not exist, folks, according to this absolute, arrogant, ignorant imbecile. Go and look in any fucking textbook you like, love. See if gluconeogenesis appears. Again, how did you get through medical school without knowing about gluconeogenesis? Please explain.
And the antioxidants
Yes, back to this pile of turd, whatever it is.
that can come with that glucose to protect
Yes, antioxidants only come with glucose.
your brain structure if you eat the right ones.
Yeah, but beans is not the right thing. Ever heard of lectins? No, haven't heard of those either. Okay.
Now, glucose, remember, only makes up half of the sugar in table sugar.
Ah, therefore it's great stuff.
And so you're eating, on the average, 70 pounds of that chemical a year.
No, I'm not. Is anybody else here eating that much sugar? I'm not.
So the other half is fructose, which the brain can't use for energy nor structure. And we know that causes insulin resistance.
No, it's still wrong. Still completely fucking wrong. No, it doesn't.
Especially in the liver. And
No, what it does is it drags down the ATP concentration in the liver. That's a completely different thing. It also causes the liver to undertake de novo lipogenesis to a high degree, thus activating the Randall cycle, which has still nothing to do with this fallacious construct that you've put together, you ridiculous buffoons in the allopathic and academic communities, called insulin resistance. Just shows your absolute fucking destitution of comprehension, doesn't it? Again. And you've already said all this stuff. Again with these, retarded buffoons repeating themselves around in circles.
it also causes gout. And this is why
Oh, there you go. Good. So gout is caused by fructose. Aren't we told it's meat that causes gout? Interesting, isn't it? That's the first thing you've said that was remotely worthwhile, love.
when you change your diet and just cut out refined sugar, you significantly improve your insulin resistance.
It's still a construct, love.
Now, the vast majority of the glucose used by your brain is for energy, and this accounts for 20% of your total body's energy expenditure.
Yes, expenditure.
Despite being only 2% of your body weight.
Yes, yeah, good.
But glucose, like I said, is essential for structural maintenance.
Yes. Luckily that we can create all the glucose we need for all purposes at all times via gluconeogenesis. Good.
Now, the brain typically needs a total of 100 to 120 grams of glucose per day in a normal diet. And
in a normal diet, you say? No, the glucose need not come from your diet still. Gluconeogenesis, remember?
When your carbohydrate intake is low and ketones derived from fat, whether you're eating it or you're breaking your own, can replace up to 60 to 75% of the brain's energy needs.
Oh, well, I've seen numbers that support that, not at all. I've seen completely different numbers around that as to the maximum amount of contribution relatively of ketogenesis, even in the deepest nutritional ketosis level. Perhaps you should go and review those figures, because the figure you've just given us is wildly inaccurate.
But it can't help your brain for its structural needs. Now, luckily for everyone, including those on a ketogenic diet or for people not eating, people fasting, your liver can make up to 30 to 50 grams of glucose a day through
Right, that's also false. Where did you get that number from? Which orifice did you pull that one out of?
gluconeogenesis.
Oh, so you do know it exists. You just think it's much less effective than it actually is. All right. Feral Grandma, you're very, very late to class. Very late indeed. Report to Ted afterwards, please, and he will give you a jolly good administrative correction. So he will. Down the back afterwards.
Converting protein into sugar.
Only protein. Again, no. Fucking nonsense. The largest contributor to gluconeogenesis is glycerol, backbones of fatty acids, love, not proteins, actually.
Now you can't store protein, but
Oh, you can't store protein. There you go. What's 65% of your dry weight, love? It's not fucking lemon meringue pies, is it? It's fucking protein, which is therefore fucking stored. Jesus H. Christ on a bicycle. Wow. Oh my God.
you have muscle, so your body breaks down your own muscle.
All right, so gluconeogenesis only works by breaking down your own muscles. Even though gluconeogenesis absolutely is, in fact, fueled almost entirely by the glycerol backbones from free fatty acids, what this ridiculous fucking imbecile is now saying to us is that after at least 3,800 million years of evolution, our bodies are so fucking inane that in preference to breaking down the fat that it stored for that very process previously, it's not going to do that. Instead, it's going to break down your own fucking muscles to produce glucose, while there's still fat sitting there for that very purpose. Brilliant, love. Absolutely fucking stunning. Oh, shit. I don't think I'm going to get through this. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. I think I'm going to blow a gasket. Wow.
To supply protein to your liver to make glucose for your brain.
Right.
So you're sacrificing your own muscle tissue. Does
Wrong, love. Complete fucking nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense.
that sound like a good idea to you?
No, it doesn't, and neither does it sound like a good idea to your very gene set that's evolved over at least 3,800 million fucking years. My God.
I'm literally trying to build muscle, but
Are you? How's that going for you?
don't build muscle by eating protein. You
Oh, you don't build... Oh, Ted! Oh, right, you don't build muscle by eating protein. No, that's not how you do it.
build muscle by exercising. So this is why I walk every day, 10,000 steps at least. I do
The
Pilates.
very thing that's likely to actually reduce the size of your musculature, low intensity exercise. Okay, good.
Twice a week, and then I do weight training twice a week.
Right, so that's antagonistic training, isn't it? Because the weight training, so long as it's of sufficient intensity to actually precipitate an increase in muscle fiber diameter, is counteracted by your low intensity exercise that encourages your body to adapt in the exact opposite fashion, you silly cunt. What's next?
And I realize the older I grow, the
You
more
don't realise dick about fuck, love. It's really, really clear that you don't understand a damn thing. Oh my God. Can you believe this, folks? Does it get any better? This ridiculous turd here, this silly woman, is on the Richard Burgess level. Well, she's a bit below that because she can't bench press 415 pounds, apparently.
More time I have to spend in investing in building my muscle. And when you eat extra protein, you can't store any of that.
Right. How much is excess protein? And what exact mechanism stops you from storing protein if you eat more protein than you need? Because if you've eaten more than you need, then you've built all the muscle that you need to build. Because if you hadn't, then you'd still absorb more protein to do so, wouldn't you? No, just logic again. Okay.
It turns into your love handles, your fat. So unless you're...
All right, so eat protein and that'll turn into fat. Oh my God, 517,000 people subscribe to and follow this fucking imbecile. Can you believe that, folks? 517 fucking thousand. And they probably like talk to her on her channel about how brilliant she is and thank you for all the great information that you provide us with, probably. You fucking imbeciles.
exercising to build that muscle, to use that extra protein, you probably need to lay off of it unless you're remodeling tissue, right? Recovering from surgery. So when you're not exercising...
What would cause you to need surgery if you eat a species-appropriate, species-specific diet and live a good life otherwise? There's not too many things that would lead to that, really.
And then you go on a ketogenic diet, you're going to lose muscle mass rapidly because your brain needs to make up for that missing glucose.
That's right, and there's no such thing as stored adipose tissue that does exactly that job. You fucking ridiculous turd. Okay, what's next?
Which, by the way, is also needed for your immune cells, red blood cells, and eye cells.
Yes, gluconeogenesis still.
And you can actually measure your calf shrinking when you start your ketogenic diet.
You could, if that's what was happening. And how do you know that you're measuring the muscle component and not the fat overlying it? Did you think of that? No, I'm not surprised you didn't.
But this is not unique to the ketogenic diet. This is true for any quick weight loss scheme.
And also water. Okay? Wow. I'm getting to the end of my tether. I really am.
Muscle is your #1 metabolic buffer to prevent you from getting insulin resistance.
Which is still a construct and still a fallacious construct which you don't fucking understand, you silly bitch.
Do you think it's a good idea to lose it? Hence, I'm not an advocate.
No, I don't, and it's not going to happen by going on a ketogenic diet. Still.
For any quick weight loss scheme, whether it's pouring down bottles of olive oil or
No, don't do that.
injecting yourself with a medicine that suppresses your appetite.
Yeah, don't do that either.
So in order to build brain cells,
Oh, for God's sake, seriously?
you're going to need cell membranes. And without cell membranes, you can't make a cell, right? Because it holds the entire cell together. Well, your brain can make new cells as long as you keep learning something new. But if you're not going to have enough equipment to build those cells, if you limit what your brain needs to make those cells. And remember, your whole body needs to make new cells. So the brain is always in competition with your body for nutrients. And usually it wins. It gets first dibs in supply. So
there's a reason for that, if there is a shortage of anything, isn't there? Obviously.
If you run out of equipment like glucose because you're not eating enough carbohydrates.
Right, so if you don't eat enough carbohydrates, you'll run out of equipment, apparently. False. Completely, utterly false.
You're not going to be able to repair your fastest growing cells, like your immune cells, your white blood cells, or your cells in your GI tract.
That's why all of us have dropped dead months and months and years ago from eating a low carbohydrate diet, love. Obviously. Remember when you guys all dropped dead from eating a low carbohydrate diet because you didn't have enough equipment? Remember that? It was terrible, wasn't it? It was a bad time for everybody.
If your brain is taking up all that glucose. And these cells, their job is to protect the brain, right? Because if these cells don't do its job, then you have a breach in your immune system and you get sick.
Right, yes. Remember when we all got sick all the time on this low carbohydrate diet that makes us get sick all the time? Quite right, Dave. Quite right. Yes. Yeah. Right. Indeed. Yep. That was tragic. I remember that. Right. I hope you're going to finish soon.
We all know
That's what she said.
how that feels, right? Your brain doesn't feel so good when you're sick. Did you
That's right. However, most of us over here in the carnivore community, which is a low carbohydrate diet, love, we don't feel sick. And we don't have brain fog. We don't repeat ourselves around in circles. We don't keep picking up a pile of turd and suggesting that's somebody's brain, although it probably looks like yours. We understand that gluconeogenesis is a thing. We understand that the primary substrate of gluconeogenesis is in fact glycerol backbones of free fatty acids and not proteins. We understand a lot, and you understand absolutely dick. Yeah. Yep. And wasn't it a shame, Dave, that you survived all of those things that you shouldn't have survived only to drop dead from lack of carbohydrates? Because this ridiculous fucking woman here says that's what's likely. Yeah, okay.
know that every time you eat, you're destroying and killing some of those cells just by sheer friction? It's like road rash. When you're eating food, it has to slide down your esophageal road into your intestinal road to then...
Well, how did we suddenly change direction so markedly from the brain to the enteric system? And now she's going to suggest that we don't have the capacity to replace those cells regularly? Or that we need fucking sugar to do it? Both of which are false. What a shock.
ultimately get pooped out. Have you ever slid down a slide in shorts? That's massive road rash on your thighs.
Depends on what the slide's made out of, isn't it? And now you're conflating the slide being the body, which is being damaged, with the human body, which is the thing that's being damaged on a slide. Jesus, your analogies are absolutely piss poor, aren't they?
I hate going down a slide in shorts, especially in the California heat. Well, that's your food.
Oh, you're from California. Well, that fucking says a lot, doesn't it? Here we go. Card-carrying Californian. No wonder she's so fucking stupid.
Food going down your food pipe.
Not all Californians are stupid. The way the state is run is, though, that's a different story.
And you'll really feel it if you cut yourself accidentally, right? My friend didn't chew a tortilla chip correctly, and it literally sliced his
Oh, literally. It literally did it?
esophagus open. Obviously, he needed surgery. Eating is traumatic, folks. Chew your food well.
Yeah, remember last time you ate some steak, everybody, and it sliced your esophagus open? No, that was a tortilla chip. What's the exact requirement for tortilla chips in the human diet? Oh, okay. Good.
And even if you chew your food well, dry foods have jaggedy edges like potato chips.
I'm always eating dry steak. How about you guys?
And crackers, and you're forcing your body to push it through a pipe. That requires a lot of energy to digest your food, just pushing it and then having the enzymes to metabolize it. And hence, we all need to give our body a break and stop eating food. I don't
Yep.
know if you realize...
But none of the things you've just been talking about, tortilla chips, etc., none of those things are food, you silly girl. Are they? Thank you very much, Juliet. Still love you. Still nothing you can do about it. Yep. Yep. A retarded goldfish knows more about science and nutrition and physiology than this ridiculous woman. It's just beyond a joke, isn't it?
this, but your digestive tract is paper thin, and you are damaging it left and right when you swallow food.
Well, it depends what food you're swallowing as to whether that's true or not, doesn't it? To some degree.
So that's why I don't get. Some people drink vinegar without diluting it. It's going to damage some of your cells in your GI tract.
And what's the mechanism of that, love? Shall we wait for that? Okay.
I literally use vinegar to
Literally, do you? Good.
clean
You
my
literally use it.
vegetables because I'm trying to kill the germs in my vegetables.
Right. What's that got to do with the effect of vinegar on the enteric tract? Because when you swallow vinegar, it goes where, love? Oh, that's right, into your stomach. What's the pH of your stomach? Oh, okay.
And if you keep doing that, one day you're going to rupture your esophagus.
Oh, right. There you go. Folks, if you eat vinegar, it will rupture your esophagus. Okay.
Hence, do not drink undiluted vinegar or alcohol. Cells
Or alcohol suddenly. I agree, you shouldn't drink alcohol. There's no indication for alcohol drinking.
in your GI tract needs to be placed on a daily basis. And you can't make cells unless you have glucose to make
Nonsense. If you mean unless you have glucose in your diet, because gluconeogenesis is still a thing, love.
the cell membranes for any part of your body. And that includes your GI tract, your immune cells, and your brain.
Yeah, we understand that all of those things are part of the body. We don't need that spelt out.
But you don't just need cell membranes to make cells. You actually need DNA, the genetic material.
Yes, deoxyribose nucleic acid. Yeah?
Basically, the computer chip of the cells.
Oh, right. It's another false analogy. Nothing remotely similar to a computer chip, in fact.
Do you know what DNA stands for?
Yes, deoxyribose nucleic acid.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
No, ribose nucleic acid.
Ribose is what makes ribo. It is only made out of glucose. And
Yep. And again, that's why we have gluconeogenesis! Fuck's sake.
ribose is the essential backbone to make nucleotides that make both DNA and ATP. So if you limit your
God.
body's access to glucose, well then you're really going to limit your body's ability to repair, regenerate, and grow new cells,
Oh, you ridiculous cunt.
including new brain cells. Now, I'm not done yet.
Oh, God. When are you going to be done?
Why do you think you can move around without being a blob? You're held by connective tissue.
Yep.
It's literally kind of a tape.
Literally, is it?
Have you heard of these terms? Maybe hyaluronic acid,
Yep.
chondroitin sulfate,
Yes.
heparin sulfate,
Yes.
keratin sulfate.
Yes, heard of them all, love.
These are molecules that make connective tissue,
Yes.
and they are all made out of glucose.
Well, glucose plays a role in that, but still we have gluconeogenesis. So what's your point?
I'm sure you've heard of collagen. You may
Yeah, I heard of that too, yep.
be eating some collagen peptides.
Maybe you are.
Well, you can't use your collagen properly unless you can glycosylate it or add glucose to it
That's
to
right, and that's why gluconeogenesis is a thing still.
make it strong. There's a syndrome of connective tissue disorders called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yes. Are you listening, Eddie? She's going to tell you all about this now, because you don't know anything about that.
In which a subset of people can't put glucose on their collagen to stabilize their connective tissue. And this results in super hyperflexible digits, but they also have super hyperflexible spine
Yep.
that can cause them scoliosis.
What is your fucking point?
They have poor wound healing, they have heart valve defects, malabsorption difficulties, and neurological problems, including blood vessel problems like with POTS, or they have chronic headaches. I just listed a
I'm getting a chronic headache.
lot of different
Listening to this ridiculous woman is giving me cancer.
things that happen to people who don't have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Maybe they're not giving their body the right equipment enough.
There you go, Eddie. That's what you're doing wrong. That's why you've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, because you're not eating glucose. I'm glad she solved the problem for you. There it is. You've been foolish all along.
Glucose to glycosylate. So if you're struggling with poor wound healing, bad skin, joint pains, brain fog or headaches, and you're
Yeah, remember how we're having all of those problems over here in the carnivore community, despite the fact that we're eating fuck all carbohydrates? Yeah.
on a low carb diet, you're probably putting yourself in the same ultimate position as a patient with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome
Yeah, no, not remotely similar, in fact. Ridiculous once again.
by restricting your body's ability to glycosylate your collagen.
Only we're not doing that.
Now, of course, this isn't medical advice.
Ah, good. That's neither is it remotely correct of any veracity or utility to anybody anywhere. In fact, it's misinformation of the highest order, and you need to fucking stop. Seriously. You are beyond a joke.
So if ever you're wondering if that is happening to you, go see your own medical doctor and have a discussion with them.
Yes, because your medical doctor knows all about things like nutrition.
Connective tissue doesn't just make joints, but they hold your entire body together.
Yes, we're aware of that. Nonetheless, all of our bodies are holding together just fine, aren't they, without carbohydrates in our diet still.
It makes the sacs that surround each of your organs. It holds your muscles, your skin, both outside and inside, your blood vessels, including the ones in your brain. And when you're missing connective tissue, you get aneurysms and high blood pressure areas like
Yes, remember when we all dropped dead of aneurysms and high blood pressure on our carnivore diet? Remember how that happened? Oh, that was a terrible time.
aorta. You can get spontaneous pneumothoraxes, which can cause a collapse of your lung. You can
Now you're just saying words, love, because you want to. Yeah. Yeah, you've been spotted at the camouflage training, Ron. Report to Ted after class. Down the back there, right by where that wetsuit with the bottom cut out is and the bucket of soapy frogs. Don't come late to class. Love you. Nothing you can do about it.
get perforations in your intestines. You have joint stability and maybe early osteoarthritis. You may be getting chronic pain and fatigue. These
Yeah,
are
and you made me not too, because no, that's not happening.
very, very common conditions that are happening at an astronomical rate in America.
Yeah, and is that people that are eating a carnivore diet that are experiencing these problems, love, or is that actually people eating a standard diet, in fact?
And they happen to people who actually don't have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Ah! Okay.
And this is the importance of getting your diet right. When
Yeah,
you
well, the importance of getting your diet right is multifaceted. And if you want to get your diet right, the last thing in the world you ought to do is listen to this ridiculous fucking woman here. Clearly, obviously, patently, without question. We're nearly done, folks. Hang in there.
eat food, you are rebuilding tissue. You're not just getting energy. And low-carb diets may help you in the short term to improve your cardiovascular risk because you eliminate
There are no studies that can inform us on risk extant anywhere in the literature, anywhere, of any hard health outcome in human beings of any kind, including mortality, in fact. I've covered prospective so-called cohort studies so many times on my channel already that I'm not even going to cover it here again today. But in short, love, no, absolutely not. The study does not inform us on risk in any way, shape or form. False. Wrong again. Ignorance beyond fucking belief.
all the junky refined carbs. But the wrong low-carb diet in the long term appears to increase your overall mortality.
No,
Now,
false. There are no studies that can support that claim extant anywhere in the literature. None at all, still.
we can't have a randomized trial to prove this, just like
There you go. So shut the fuck up.
we can't randomize people to perform tobacco or asbestos exposure trials. It's
Right, so shut the fuck up then.
just not going to be ethical. But
Right, so shut the fuck up.
I think we all agree that tobacco and asbestos is bad for the human body.
Whether we agree with that or not doesn't change the fact as to whether it is or not, and it doesn't change the amount of evidence, cause and effect, that would support such a claim. Because the amount of evidence extant for those claims is still the same as it was before you say we all agree or we don't all agree.
Because people who have more exposure seem to have more problems and poor outcomes.
Right, quite markedly. Huge, huge increases in incidence. Quite different from anything you'll find in a prospective epidemiological study regarding hard health outcomes in human beings as that relates to any aspect of the nutritional procedures. Still.
It's really a dose-response relationship. And you can show dose-response relationships with diets, including low-carb diets.
Yes, but love, I've just quite clearly shown why it is that they are of no value in one sentence alone. The magnitude of the dose response is so close to zero as to be of no utility to any living human being over a 100-year lifespan, even if these ridiculous, falsified studies were cause and effect relationships, which they're not. You really, seriously need to shut your fucking ignorant pie hole and learn some basic fucking science. Some basic biochemistry, some basic nutritional principles. This disinformation from you from start to finish is absolutely unacceptable. It's excremental. It needs to fucking stop. Indeed, meat for the win. Right, let's finish off.
And in theory, a low-carb diet seems to be beneficial for diabetes, but is it really? Well,
Yes, it is.
it's been shown to be the opposite.
No, it hasn't. Not at all. That's another absolute either bull-faced lie or indeed an incompetent reading of science from an incompetent individual. I don't care which it is. Either is a reason for you to shut the fuck up permanently, publicly, regarding this aspect of health in humans whatsoever. You are completely out of your fucking depth here, love. Again, risk, it says. No, this is not a study with the capacity to inform on risk. Not at all.
For a 30-year period, people who are hardcore on eating a low
What the fuck is that when it's at home? What the purple fuck is hardcore?
carb diet, they are at higher risk
No. False. No studies support that ridiculous, fallacious claim. None at all.
of getting type 2 diabetes.
Nonsense.
But we know not all low-carb diets are the same. And people who focus their low-carb diets on animal protein, even if it's lean or even if it's like sirloin steak, well, you basically increase your risk of diabetes.
False. Absolutely, demonstrably, completely false. No evidence exists to support that ridiculous fucking nonsense. Still.
Well, those who do more of a whole food, plant-based low-carb diet,
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. Wow. Wow, this woman is irretrievably stupid. Unbelievably, irretrievably stupid. Clearly.
and eliminate refined carbohydrates, they actually can reduce the risk of diabetes.
No. False again. There are still no studies that can inform on risk at all. None.
And this is also true for people who already have diabetes.
No, it isn't. Because it's based on the same fallacious construct in the first instance. Excuse me.
So if you want to know the foods that will reverse your insulin resistance,
Then don't listen to this ridiculous fucking turd here. Not 1 second longer. All of you subscribe to this ridiculous fucking imbecile need to unsubscribe immediately and come over here, subscribe to me, even though you might not like the way I present myself. You probably understand why. If you have any actual fucking common sense, you'll understand why it is I get so hot under the collar in these presentations. A bit of an act, but it's okay. Wow. Wow, stunning. Okay, that just leaves one thing. Sing the song and we'll be out of here. And of course the song goes a little bit something like this. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast, you silly cunt. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak and not beans. Just making sure you heard. I don't think she got it, but never mind. Join us next time when someone else will be wrong and stupid on the interwebs, because it doesn't look like slowing down, does it? Right, Ted, hit the button, would you?